In this video, I'm going to try to go into depth about how I've been beating Everdark Libra. One of the better shifting earths that I have been using has been the Rot. The Rot has been really great at increasing your survivability. It gets your max health up, it brings your EHP up, and it's going to let you heal back some of that damage that you've taken. You can farm some pretty decent weapons because of all of the red field bosses. Here are some of the different weapons I would recommend you look for if you're playing an Iron Eye, the Erdtree bow, or getting a bow with Mighty Shot and Holy, so you can use your starting bow as long as you make it Holy, is very good. The Halo Scythe is very strong against the Everdark Libra. That's pure holy damage coming out of this Ash of War. Vike's War Spear will apply Frenzy and a AoE, which is really great for the because the boss will take extra damage when they become inflicted with madness, and it's great for dealing with the summons that he has. And Ogwen's Sacred Spear is really great when you are fighting the boss and he starts to summon the ads. You can just run right into the center and start spamming away, and it usually takes care of the ads pretty quickly. If you're playing solo, you don't necessarily need to do that. It would still probably do some decent damage. But the other recommendation I'd have is Rivers of Blood. Rivers of Blood, if you've ever played base Elden Ring, you know it's infamous for how much it was used in PvP, and for here it's the exact same. You're fighting other characters that are basically PvP. It's basically PvP. So I would recommend using this. It can almost full combo a summon NPC. If you're solo, I'm pretty sure it can full combo. If you're playing a caster, I would recommend, if you're playing like the Duchess or Luz, I would recommend using the Staff of Loss. These two spells specifically. Night Comet the NPCs can't dodge Night Comet, or they can't intentionally dodge it. They can't input read it. And with Glintstone Arc, it moves slowly enough, and it hits in an AoE that's really good at cleaving down the ads if you're in a group. Another good one would be Stars of Ruin. They track really well, and the NPCs dodge at the beginning of the cast, but they don't always dodge all of the projectiles. A big recommendation for me is going to be buy as many Starlight Shards as you can. If not for you, if you're not spamming your Ash of War, then for your teammates. You can bring them into the arena and drop them down later in the fight, ping them for your allies to pick up if they're running out of mana. Frenzy, when you are procced with Frenzy, it drains all your mana, so it's a really great thing to have. The Bubble Tier will really help you if you ever get caught out by his round AoE. Same thing with the Uplifting Aromatic. It's going to block incoming damage once, and it's going to do it for your team. And you can get 2 of them. So if you see these, buy them. And you can keep these on you. I generally, when I see them out, I'll just pop one, and then it has increased your madness resistance permanently. Another pretty decent strategy that I've done a couple of times to some decent success is if you're okay with rushing Nokstella, you can run Nokstella and rush the city and look for the Grafted Blade or the Mariah's Executioner Sword. and farm up and do some really good damage that way. I had a run earlier today where we were able to beat the boss seconds into his second phase. And I recommend, if you see the small pouch, to grab the small pouch just to get as many additional item slots as you can. You really need as much health as you can get here. While I normally don't recommend rushing churches, making sure that you're going into the boss with 5 to 6 flasks is a good idea. And as for relics, this is a setup that I use on my character. The attack power increased for each Everjail is a must. The +1 additional character use is a must. And the defeating enemies fills more art gauge is, I'd say, a must. If not that, you need +3 ultimate art charge, art gauge. I have a different relic that I normally use. I use this relic normally for the character cooldown reduction, the ultimate art gauge, and the physical attack up. I try to find a holy bow if I can. If I can't find a holy bow, I'll use a different weapon, just whatever I can find. You know, not every run is going to be a success, but and then the Everjails, I mean, it speaks for itself. It's the meta for a reason. I have tried many builds trying not to use it, and it always feels bad because even if I'm not rushing exclusively Everjails, I usually end up doing 2 or 3 Everjails, and that's just 15% free damage that I'm missing out on. And I guess the last point I'm going to make here is passives are really important. Making sure that you are doing your checks for talismans and getting some either defensive or offensive talisman slots, really important. And having at least one defensive passive for successive attacks, negate damage, full HP, negates damage, or negate damage when taking damage. I only recommend that one if you are playing Raider or Guardian or Wilder. In this instance, at least. And then the rest of your passive should be based around your kit. For Iron Eye, it's obviously going to be improved weapon range attacks if you found a good bow. Otherwise, go for max life. Max life damage. And maybe go two-handing damage if you're playing a Wilder. And if you can find passives that give you FP restored on successive attacks, that's going to help a lot against this boss because they will drain your FP, and being able to restore that FP is great. I'm talking the 10% FP restored on successive attacks passive, not the relic that does it. The relic does not do enough. It does return some, but it does not return enough to make it. Is there anything else? If you want to come and hang out with me while I'm streaming, I'm streaming usually 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard, and then in the evening, usually 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard, and sometimes throughout the day. And I would appreciate a like, subscribe, and a follow, and If y'all like this video, I'll make more of it. And goodbye.